I can't believe it. In my 37 years of supporting this football club, I have never been this disappointed. It's not just a decision for the now, it's a decision that's going to impact the future in a multitude of levels. And it's a decision that's wrong, it's a mistake, it's backwards. And, you know, I've been through an era for the Carlton Football Club that has had minimal success. I was there week after week, sitting in the Gardner stand during the dark years of when Dennis Pagan was the coach, following the salary cap breaches, and we didn't have any draft picks to bring in any quality players, and had virtually ring-ins from the, VFL level, dealistees from other teams. But yet I turned up week after week after week, sat in the Gardner stand and supported the team, despite knowing that we were going to get pumped week after week. Now, that was a very, very low time of the club. But still, you love the club. You turn up. You support. And I guess the difference between now and then, at least then, there was that common understanding that we knew where the club was at. It wasn't good enough. There were reasons behind it, obviously, with the salary cap breaches. And you compare that to now. Now we have a team, we have a list that should be contending, that should be, in terms of KPIs, making the top four at minimum. And here we are. During your tenure, 4 seasons, that has, by and large, been an absolute failure. Aside from the fact that 2023, we got on some sort of run and miraculously made a prelim. But we're so far and away from where that was. We are so far and away. You've got to look at the raw numbers. You've got to look at, when you're talking about data, when you're comparing year after year, you don't use one season, or not even a season, because it was really the second half, if that, maybe the last quarter of the 2023 season, where the team turned things around. And a lot of luck came our way that year. We can't deny that. And you compare that 2023 season to every other season that Voss has been at the helm, and we've failed. We've failed time and again, and yet we're using the minority part of his coaching tenure, which was the relative success of making a prelim, didn't get a flag. We're using that minority part to outweigh the maximum. It just does not make sense. As I said, KPIs. Football is more a business nowadays. Enough is spoken about that, how misguided that is. And part of the reason why we aren't having any success, because culturally we don't have a head in the game and priorities aren't aligned. But when we talk about football as being a business, there are KPIs. When we talk about that across the business and in the footy side of things, there are KPIs that need to be set. And we've set it. We have all these benchmarks, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. We want to win a flag. Yeah, that's the ultimate glory. But beneath that, what are the little, intrinsic benchmarks? Making top 8, making top 4. Now, making top 8 in 2024, you can't measure that season. You cannot, because we were in a spot that is very, very similar to where we're at now. The team out of confidence, injuries aside, because I know that so much has been said about injuries in 2024, and that is just by the by, because a lot of those injuries came after the fact that we had that downturn of form and started performing like shit off the back of the way that we're being coached. So if anyone wants to say that, there were injuries cannot be used as an excuse. If the injuries hit us at the midway point of the season, or even at the quarter way through the season, then you could say, yes, it was a factor. But again, when you're talking about the majority of the season versus the minority, the injuries happened in the minority part of the season. And they happened after we turned to shit. The whole discussion point around that was used as a shield for the coaching staff, Michael Voss, and the insistence, and even Brad Lloyd as well as the head of footy. They all use that as a shield. Oh no, we had injuries. That was the reason why we went to shit. Injuries. Yeah, 100%. Does that explain the lack of effort that we saw in the back part of 2024? Is that explain the reason why tactically we were being outplayed by opposition teams? To me, it is just utterly ridiculous. Now let's just go through quickly what was sent out to fellow members here. Again, I do apologise for my congestion. I am recovering from sickness at the moment and was feeling up and about, but this has actually brought me right back down. So this is what was sent to members via email. The Carlton Football Club can today confirm with absolute clarity that its AFL senior coach, Michael Voss, will remain coach of the Blues into the 2026 AFL season. Now, I don't know why they've used the language of into the 2026 season as opposed to for the 2026 season. Maybe I'm just hopeful that this is just hosing down any media speculation until, maybe a final decision is made. But we'll chat about that later. As communicated by the club in June, incoming CEO Graham Wright has been maximising the final 8 weeks of the home and away season to work closely with the football department, which is fair enough. We've seen him. He's been in the box. He's been meeting with Michael Voss regularly outside of the club, having coffees, whatever, taking notes, doing everything else, observing the way that, key figures interact and whatnot. This has involved clear consultation with players, coaches and staff, producing valuable insights into where the AFL program currently sits and the necessary steps that need to be taken to take the team forward. We were clear following round 16 that we will utilise these remaining games to make calm, rational and fully informed decisions that will take our football club forward, and that is what we will continue to do, Carlton President Rob Priestley said. The first of these has been in relation to our senior coach, which we are now in a position to provide clarity on following last night's scheduled board meeting. Last night, Graham presented a recommendation to the Board of Directors that Michael remains as our senior coach into next season. This recommendation was unanimously endorsed by the board. For the last few months, Graham and Michael have been meeting regularly, during which time they have been engaged in open and honest dialogue with one another on what is required for us to evolve as a football side. Michael's ability to lead our football club this year in the face of incredible pressure has displayed the attributes of a strong and selfless leader. Who gives a shit? I could not care less if you are someone who buckles under pressure or stands up and is stoic saying that, I don't care about the pressure. Who cares? It's results on field. Just a throwaway line. Ridiculous. Carlton's always come first for our coach, and Graham and Michael share a clear and aligned view on the opportunities to improve football performance. Now, if that is the case, how come, I ask you, the board, Graham Wright, why has Voss not allowed himself to be open to other ideas, to try different things in game, and not persist with a vanilla game plan that is being found out by opposition teams? That's just bullshit. Does not work. It is selfish. Selfish coaching. My way or the highway. Ends with, we want to make it absolutely clear that Michael Voss is the coach of the Carlton Football Club and he will remain the coach of the Carlton Football Club. But, there's that side of me that's like, you know what? Why would I expect any different from this board? This is a board where, who has actually, first and foremost, hired Michael Voss. So why would they want to get rid of him and in doing so admit fault? They obviously want to protect themselves and they don't want to allow themselves to be open to criticism. This is the same inept board that hired him. So why would we expect any different? And, to me, Graham Wright is answerable to the board. That's just the way it is. And if Graham Wright came to them and said, no, I think we should sack Michael Voss, I reckon the board would say, no, because they've got self-interest, of course. They want to protect their own roles. They would come back and say, no, I think that we should stick with him. Aside the frustrations, everything else, we're talking about someone that, as a figurehead, Michael Voss as the senior coach, I would happily accept him being endorsed to continue as senior coach if there are clear reasonings. Now, what's the reason for persisting? Because he's a nice bloke? If you're a nice bloke, who cares? I would much prefer us hard ass to come in and actually get results. Like, why even set KPIs like making top 4 with a list, and this list that should be doing so if we fail spectacularly and still back him in? Like, if that's the case, the club has lower standards than I thought. And success, if that's the case, if that's the standard, if that's the KPI, and he's not even meeting it, but don't worry, we'll back him in. If that's the case, success is a generation away. I don't care what you say, because it gets to the point where it's, cultural and it's chemistry between the coaches and the playing group. Now, it's obvious the playing group, Michael Voss has lost them. It comes a point in every coach's career where they meet a point where their position is untenable because of the fact that the players don't respect the coach. That relationship is not salvageable. You're kicking a can down the road virtually. And this whole, discussion about, why should we get rid of another coach? We've sacked coaches in the past. Who gives a shit? Who cares? You don't look at the past to then provide it as a guide for the future. What's the saying in that superannuation ad? Past performance is not an indicator of future performance. The exact same thing happens here. Who cares? We've made mistakes in the past. We've had to rectify them. It's such a backwards mentality, because it's akin to saying that, despite the fact that we've made mistakes in the past, we're now immune from making the same mistakes in the future. That's not true. That is not true. We're talking about the Carlton Football Club that has had issues in hiring the right person for the job. And the same things happened here. But hey, let's use what's happened in the past to guide us in the future, despite the fact that it's got no bearing or relation at all. And again, this is the same board that have made the same mistakes in hiring the exact same issues. They haven't brought the right person on for the job. They overlooked Adam Kingsley and instead offered him, hey, we'll give you the senior assistant coaching role. And he's just given them the finger and said, fuck you, I'm going to apply at the Giants. And hey, credit to him, got the senior coaching job, and he's showing that he can actually coach. And tactically, he's a pretty good coach. In light of so many things like that, which indicate the issues and the fact that the appointment of Michael Voss was incorrect, is so glaringly obvious. I've spoken about it time and again in the past when we were at this stage where we had sacked Teague and we used the past to guide the future incorrectly again, because we didn't have the right support structure around the likes of Bolton, around Teague, in having a, head of coaching or, director of coaching or an actual senior assistant coach to help guide the inexperience of Teague and Bolton. And because that happened, we painted ourselves into a corner after sacking Teague that, hey, we needed flat out experience. We don't give a shit if Michael Voss was the fact that, he's a failure at Brisbane and the fact that he lost the players. Have a look back. If you haven't seen, Google it. During his tenure there at Brisbane, the players were threatening a mass exodus. And what's happening now at Carlton? TDK aside, there's rumours circulating. Players want to leave. Hey, Jack Silvani wants to get out of here as well, being offered virtually similar money at Collingwood, but he wants to leave, wants to get out. Charlie Curnow linked to a move. If this is a good culture within the club, if this is a good, environment and there's a great chemistry between the playing group and the coach, this would not be happening. And, we're not just pulling this out of thin air. This is what happened at Brisbane before he got the sack. But hey, let's back him in. Let's back him in. It's just such, I've reached my peak, and I love to support the club, and I know we make mistakes. I know we do. But this football club has reached its lowest ebb. And, I referenced earlier, those dark years under Dennis Pagan. We're on field, we didn't have the caliber of team to compete. But hey, we weren't denying ourselves of the fact that we knew where we were at. This is now a club that is just PRFC. It's a business, and the board treat it as such. They don't give a shit about winning. They don't give a shit about results. They don't give a shit about premierships, because what they see is they're still able to turn a profit despite the fact that the side is not successful. They could not care less. All of those people on the board, bar Greg Williams, have a business background. And what they want to see is a positive number on the balance sheet. They want to see green. And hey, the club's rolling in it. But what does that give us? What does that give us? We exist to win flags. We don't exist to turn a profit. And yes, as I said, clubs in the AFL, it is a business nowadays more so than what it was decades ago. But it still does not override the core purpose of the club to win premierships. And if we continue going about things the way we are, i.e. backing in an incorrect coach who cannot tactically coach this team, then we will continue to be where we're at. We will continue to lose players. And it doesn't matter the likes of, talent that we get in the team. Because we've seen across the journey, we've had Harry Mackay, we've had Charlie Curnow, dual Coleman medalist. We've had Patrick Cripps, a dual Brownlow medalist. Sammy Walsh, mind you, cruelled by injury, of course. But we've got a spine of a team that should be contending for a flag, at the very least, finishing top 4. And yet, we ask ourselves, why isn't this happening? Because you're not getting the best out of the team. You're not getting the best out of the talent at our disposal. And when these players move on, this club is not going to see success in a long, long time. It's going to hurt a lot as a supporter. Really, it is. As I said, I support this team through thick and thin, but geez, they're testing me here. They are really testing me. Because if I have to turn up and watch that same style of game from Michael Voss in 2026, I think I just won't turn up. I'll still be a paying member, no worries. The club will absolutely love that because, hey, helps them turn a profit. But on field, if we have to watch that shit again, like how many years does he need? How many years do we need to see of this same style of play? The issues that persist. It's not just, I know, Michael Voss. It's the rest of the coaching staff, but he is the head coach. When they go into team meetings, all the assistants, they pitch in with ideas. But head coach, Michael Voss, he is the one with the final say. He's the one who says, no, we'll go with that idea. No, we'll potentially not go for that idea, but we'll put that on ice. And the fact that we've seen the same style of play, the same issues that persist week after week that we see, that's on him. That is on him. And getting rid of the assistant coaches is not going to fix the core issue. Getting rid of the assistant coaches as well as loggerhead in Michael Voss, that's where the remedy is. That's the fix. And again, it doesn't matter. The likes of Cody Walker coming in, Harry Dean, we've got Jagger Smith. If you're not developing the team well enough, if you're not implementing a game plan that works to the strengths of players, then you're not going to find success. You're simply not going to find any success at all. Let me go through, just quickly, whilst we're talking about Michael Voss, a whole host of issues that we've seen of how he can't really get the best out of players. Just some examples here, and there's a whole list of them. First and foremost, playing Sard as a lockdown defender, ignoring his strength of his run and carry and attack off half-back. He persisted with it in his first season and then said, you know what? Don't worry about that. We'll mold you into a lockdown defender and we'll have someone else take that role. What's happened there? We don't have any run, any carry off half-back because of that. And that there is a decision from Michael Voss. We have Walshy as an inside midfielder. He does his best work as an outside player. We saw it across the final series in 2023, where he was almost playing as a wingman. He was sort of loose at the stoppage, would run out, give himself time and space to really utilize his foot skills, and lo and behold, he won the medal for the best player across the final series. Coincidence? I think not. But somehow, for some reason, he's now inside mid. And hey, let's get rid of Matt Kennedy, another inside midfielder. Hey, we don't need them. We'll just mould Walshy and take him away from his strengths into an inside mid. Motlop in the midfield. Wow, Motlop in the midfield. Does he see Motlop and thinks he sees Cosy Pickett at Melbourne? Now, he is an incredible player. He's got speed, he's got agility, he's got evasiveness, and he's got vision. none of which Motlop has. Gets caught time and again with his lack of speed, his lack of vision. I mean, just have a look at that 1 bit of play against the Dockers on the weekend when he took a mark and for some reason had blinkers on. He was like a horse. He could not see the other Freo player within his peripheral. He played on stupidly, tried to evade, got caught holding the ball. Happens every single week, at least once. He's not up to the level. But hey, let's play him every single week. Let's play him in an integral role in the midfield. Then we have Harry pushing up the ground. Now, it does provide, obviously, a tall target. But when your side is struggling to pinpoint passes inside forward 50, bombing the ball in onto the head of Charlie, and that's not his bread and butter, whereas with Harry it is, why are we having Harry up the ground? Charlie is a stay-at-home forward. That should be switched. We've done it in the past, and it's worked because it works to Charlie's strengths with his speed, agility off the mark. Great mark on the lead as well. Great leap. And Harry, his overhead marking, even when it's bombed onto his head, has the strength to hold off his opponent and take those clunks. But hey, no. Let's not do that. And then we have Charlie spending bulk periods in defense. So, this all culminates into issues that we see on game day. And then, enough is spoken about the tactic side of things. Kicking down the line, over handball, drawing the man, all that sort of stuff that we just fall into. All those issues. That's on Michael Voss and the coaching staff. I could talk about this for another hour and a bit, so we might make another video after this, but I just really wanted to get my thoughts down because I am fuming. It's just going to be another waste of a season in 2026. And when we get to that point of when we have to sack Michael Voss mid-season, in-season, we're going to be at a point where we don't have any options to look at because, hey, Melbourne, they got the jump on us. And they picked the best, among which I think is Hayden Skipworth. Great tactics, actually has a background in psychology, really highly rated at Collingwood. I would bring him in post-haste and have a director of football, whether it be Horse, Simo, or Hinkley, even if you wanted to. But Michael Voss is not that man. I'm sorry, he's done his dash. He's had enough of a chance now. He's unwilling to adapt. He is as stubborn as they come. So why now are we expecting a different result? Because Graham Wright's here and he's breathing down his neck? What is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different result. Well, I think we can actually clinically diagnose Carlton and the people within it, the board, everyone else, as clinically insane because this move is nothing short of that. To back in the coach 3 rounds out from the end of the season, why? Why? We have not had a full look at the season itself. I hope the players honestly clock off. I hope they clock out and we get pummeled by 100 points for the last 3 rounds of the season, which I'd never, ever say. But if it helps expose the cracks that we're papering over because we're so delusional about where we're at, then bring it. Absolutely bring it. That's it. We'll catch you in the next one.